Hey, Mistakes listeners, this is Dave, and I'm glad that you've tuned in, downloaded, or streamed, for that matter. This happens to be a very special episode for Todd and I because it's episode 20, and when we initially started this thing, we agreed on 20 episodes. So, we're here. Looks like we're here to stay. This episode, we actually looked at Disney's Girl Meets World, and boy, Todd and I had a lot of fun with this particular podcast. As you know, we are present on social media. We actually do have a Twitter location at Parent Mistakes. We also have Facebook at Parenting Mistakes. Again, this episode was recorded on August 31st, 2015. I'm so glad we made it to 20. Sit back and enjoy the show.
So my daughter was chewing us out last night. My youngest daughter, who's 11.
Oh, Meg. Yeah.
Meg. She was chewing us out.
Why?
She sort of had a point, but sort of didn't. It's hard to know sometimes as a parent.
I chew you out all the time.
I understand.
Not really a point to that, though.
But you're a grown-up.
It's true.
I don't know if she was chewing us out. She was more lamenting.
Okay.
So we're watching a baseball game last night. And this is not necessarily going to mean a lot to you because you're not a huge sports guy.
No, I'm a science fiction geek.
Yeah, you are. Yeah,
I am.
You're a Trekkie and that sort of thing.
I am a Trekkie for sure.
Okay, but you would at least appreciate an access issue. So down here in Los Angeles, if you're listening to Los Angeles, you know what this is about, but the rest of the country doesn't necessarily care. There's been a cable dispute down here in Los Angeles for the last couple of years, and it has involved the Los Angeles Dodgers, who are fairly popular down here. And so basically what has happened is a large portion of the Los Angeles area has not seen the Dodgers on TV for the last 2 years.
Huh. Wow.
Which has been a bummer for a lot of fans. Anyway,
right.
So they're on.
Does that include you, or do you?
That includes us.
Okay.
Now, I grew up in Seattle with you, and I'm a huge Mariners fan, but I support the Dodgers because it's my wife's team and that sort of thing. Anyway.
Sure.
So the team is, the Dodgers were on ESPN last night, which they're on a couple times a year, and we're watching the game because it's kind of nice to watch baseball. We like to watch baseball.
Yeah.
So my daughter, and this again feeds into media, and I mentioned this a number of episodes ago, that we're not huge fans of the family spreading out throughout the house and being on different media.
Yeah.
It does happen on occasion, particularly as my kids get older, my daughter in high school, that sort of thing. Sometimes my wife and I would like to watch something together, and my high school daughter is sort of doing her homework and then wants to watch something by herself, and that's fine. So we got the game on.
I'm glad you got that locked down.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. And everybody now knows
okay.
the Pfeiffer procedure.
Hey, we're making up all along.
Okay.
So we're
because sometimes my son likes to come in the house and watch TV, but we're not really interested in that. But we like to watch as a family. Sorry. I can't help myself.
Hey, sometimes as parents we're consistently inconsistent. That's
What do you do if a guest comes over? Do they have to watch TV with you as well?
Oh, we don't watch TV usually when guests get over. We socialize.
In the 70s, people used to come watch TV.
Play games. We play cards.
Games. Okay.
All right, anyway. So.
No wonder your daughter's lamenting.
So she wants to go off and watch something else because she's not interested in the baseball game.
Sure, just like me. She wants to watch Star Trek. Amen to her.
And we say, no, we're watching the game. And then she says, well, you're not really watching because I was on my phone and my wife was on her laptop. And so she was saying, hey, you people are kind of hypocrites a little bit.
Sure.
Which, okay. She had sort of a point.
Right.
But to, this is sort of what we do when we watch baseball. We sort of maybe work a little bit. We're sort of doing something else.
That's because there's nothing to glue you to watch baseball.
It's a beautiful thing.
Oh, I really have to watch this game closely because, wow, it's exciting.
Well, it did strike me that, yes, sometimes as parents we do violate the rules that we try to impress on our children. So we'll say, why don't you get off your phone and get off your computer and that sort of thing. So we do have to remind ourselves.
Wait, did you guys get off your phones and computers last night when she did that?
I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know.
I,
So
so
I had to sort of
yes.
say, point taken. Point taken.
Okay, so yes, you did.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I got on it later, but that's a different story for a different day.
I told you that if I ever rule the world, I'm gonna get rid of a lot of sports, and it's all gonna be capture the flag because that is a fun game to watch.
Well, you would have a lot of opponents because people like sports.
But they would love capture the flag because that's
Yeah.
fun. That's a fun sport.
Well, you're not in charge of the world. But speaking of world,
Oh yeah. Yes, we did it.
the transition.
Right
We'll merge,
on. We're
we'll,
in.
we'll, we'll merge my girl with your world. We've got girl meets world.
Yep.
Yep.
What's this
So,
based on? What's it based on?
well, you probably know more than me because I think you watched the prior show.
My
Did you
wife
watch-
did. She saw this as this was chicken soup for the soul kind of stuff, right? It was comfort food for her. She'd watch Boy Meets World because it just made her feel good.
Okay, so this is the sequel to Boy Meets World. Now it's Girl Meets World. So apparently, 'cause I didn't know this. I'm sure the fans would know this. So apparently the cast from Boy Meets World grows up, and a couple of the characters, Corey and Topanga,
Topanga.
yes, which there's a Topanga Canyon down here in LA, so that's just
Right.
she's
Well,
named after geography.
yeah.
Anyway.
Topanga's usually named after something else, though, right? Like Topanga Canyon was Captain Topanga Esquire.
I don't know what it's named after.
Okay.
Okay, people, you need to go to our Facebook page and tell us what Topanga's named after.
Yeah, what does Topanga mean?
Anyway, so the show follows Corey and Topanga's daughter, Riley,
Right.
and her best friend, Maya.
Correct.
And as Wikipedia so eloquently states, as they navigate the challenges of life.
You know, I think Wikipedia is going to start asking for money from us. We're going to be in trouble.
They're a nonprofit organization.
Oh, that's right. That's right. But yeah, and we're nonprofit too, right?
We are nonprofit. Yes, we are. Except we're not a 501c3 yet.
That's right.
So we need to file some paperwork.
5-1
Okay.
what?
So these are two girls who are, what, middle school?
Yeah, I'd say tweens. There are another
Tweens.
tweens here.
Okay. The father is a teacher, is Riley's teacher, history teacher, right?
Yes, you do realize this is Fred Savage's brother.
Yes, Fred Savage's brother. And it's got I don't know if it's got some flavor of that, but so yeah. And then the wife, Topanga, is a lawyer,
Yes.
which okay.
She's a lawyer and she's being outwitted by her 5-year-old son, Augie.
Yes. Apparently, if you give someone a laptop and a notebook
They're
on a
lawyers.
Disney show, they're a lawyer.
Right.
So this is, I don't know, pretty straightforward plot, girlfriend comedy, navigating school and life and relationships and that sort of thing.
Yes.
So, plot's pretty simple.
Simple. It's one I hadn't seen before.
Okay.
Well,
You've
maybe
seen
I
this
have.
show- You've seen this show on a regular basis?
No, just say that, is this a plot? I mean, of course, everything is regurgitated, right? Like, I guess that's why it's nice to watch Leave It to Beaver, because it's brand new. Like, they hadn't done that plot yet. Although my father would tell me, oh, there's many radio dramas that have done many of those plots before. I love them
Yes,
so much,
sure.
right? Leave It to Beaver copied, Amos and Andy or something, right? Like, I don't know. But it's been going on for a long time. They all copy Shakespeare, right?
Correct.
I
And
would
the
not
basic-
say this plot was a Shakespearean plot, though.
Well, and the basic setting of this is classroom and home. So you have sort of a updated Disney version of the shows that came to mind were Welcome Back, Kotter,
Yes.
which different clientele, of course. But then Head of the Class. Do you remember Head of the Class?
Sure. Absolutely.
Late 80s, that sort
Yep.
of thing. So again, setting in a classroom where there's not really a lot of education going on. There's a lot of sort of warm fuzzies and...
Well, the daughter breaks the lesson because she's concerned about her own life issue, and the father eventually basically says, okay, class, enough of the lesson today. Let's just focus in on Riley's problem.
Right.
Which is like, pretty much like, I call this the bridge crew syndrome. There are 400 people on the Enterprise, but it always comes down to Kirk and Spock and their problems, right?
Correct.
So it's going to come down to Riley and Corey and Riley's friend, say the name again. Maya.
Yes.
Right? It's always going to come down to the command crew, right? So you've got the goofy, geeky kid in the back that, is kind of the antagonist. You've got the handsome hunk guy who actually is her possible love interest, I'm sure of it, as time goes on.
Yes.
So I had a lot of great expectations for this show because Boy Meets World was it was a pretty solid show. And I actually watched a couple episodes myself, and it was enjoyable. No better than dare I say, no better than Different Strokes, which I always mention here.
Gotta get at least one Different Strokes reference per show.
Better. How about this? Better than Saved by the Bell by far.
That's not saying much.
That's not saying much. So immediately I thought, okay, so we have talked about some of the. Okay, this is a Disney show, and I thought, well, Girl Meets World has got to break some of those Disney tropes where the parents are not a strong focus, because Corey, who was the protagonist of the entire prior show, is a centralized character for this show, yet unfortunately, because he's in a modern Disney show, he takes the back burner as a parent.
Yes, right? and as an authority figure.
As an authority figure as well. And then Topanga, who actually, again, I thought would have a much stronger role again, because she had a much stronger role as a character, because they were kids. Again, I suppose in Disneyland or the Disney World, once you become an adult, you are no longer the focus, and the power still remains with the kids. So even with their most popular characters that they've matured and brought into this era, the parents end up being weak. There were just a number of groaners with Topanga and her youngest boy Augie, where I was just like, I can't take this. It's so silly. I hate to use the word for this, but I felt like a lot of things are just contrived, right?
Yes.
They were there for the writer's sake. The writers are like, we've got to get from point A to point Z, and we'll just write it conveniently to work out the way we want it to work out.
Well, and we've hit this theme a number of times, and this is always it's almost like a litmus test for Disney shows in particular that have parents, where we sort of say, all right, is this going to be the kids are completely in control show where the parents are just sort of these giggly accessories in the back?
Right.
Or are the parents actually going to act like grown-ups? Are they actually going to be sort of in charge of the situation, actually directing some traffic? And I'd say in this one, at least this episode, it's the first. These parents, I mean, he is her dad and her teacher.
Yep.
And he has like zero control of the situation. Not that these are characters that are completely running wild and grabbing fire extinguishers and setting, fire to the buildings and stuff like that. But
how would you set a fire to a building with a fire extinguisher?
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. It's just an analogy. Yeah. Well, you could play with the fire extinguishers first. See, that's the way if you're a true rebel. You'd play with the fire extinguishers first and empty them, and then set fire to the building. Because then the teachers would have nothing to put the fires out with.
What are you talking about?
That's what you do.
Yeah, nice save, bub. No, okay. But I will say, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
They're still nice kids.
Yeah.
They're still relatively, again, clean,
good-looking, good-looking people.
Perfect, just fell out of designer magazine.
Oh my gosh, they look so good. They got so much makeup on. They look like plushies, plushy dolls.
How many outfit changes can we do?
We need to start counting that too, right?
Oh, there you go.
Holy
the Disney
smokes.
Outfit change.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I counted. Was there 56?
A 23-minute episode.
Yeah. I'll give. Okay, so I had a hard time. I was not entertained by this show, and I desperately wanted to be entertained by this show because right now this is the Disney show to watch. This is the go-to show. This has got the known IP, and I feel like, man, they are squandering. What would happen if Disney actually continued to make the parents the centralized characters that the kids actually kind of adored and respected and went, gee, I still need some parenting, like, you know what I'm saying, versus just kind of this, the parents are there for sort of this comedy relief, and, oh, we're going to give you some Brady Bunch advice throughout the episode. The one thing I did appreciate about Corey was that they get into this scenario in which they get into building their own company. So they divide the class in half. One half of the class is Company A, and the other half of the class is Company B, and they both have to sell muffins, okay? So they go off, and they're selling muffins, and what I appreciate about Corey is he kind of let things work themselves out. And I'll give that to this episode. Like, there are going to be some hefty consequences that occur when making these decisions as in running a business, and I felt like as a teacher, he didn't intervene much because intervention wasn't necessary. The scenario would actually play itself out, and they would learn some hard lessons, which ultimately they kind of did.
Yeah, see, I don't see that at all. I mean, I see that as absentee teaching right there, because he gives them no guidelines, no rubric, no measurability. I mean, nothing. He just sort of says, well, have two companies. Bye-bye. Have fun.
No, he's not bye-bye. He
bye-bye.
stands in the background smiling a lot.
That's right.
He like kind of off camera smiles a lot because, hey, he's our known IP, so we can't keep him off the camera.
Right.
That's just me being bitter. I'm sounding like an old man.
By the way, this is a history class. It's a history class, but we're going to do business modeling.
Right. One of the students is actually teach me about history.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave class. Can you teach me about Belgium, teacher?
Yeah.
No, get out of here.
About Belgium. No, I don't want to teach you. I don't want to learn about Belgium.
What? Right? Yeah.
Okay, so personal story between you and I. So when we were in high school, in band, with Miss Boone.
Sure.
I think just about every day, I need to send this episode to her because, I remember this. I think every single day I would walk in and I would say, hey, Miss Boone, let's not play music today. Let's go out in the field and play kickball.
You said that every day to Miss Boone?
I think just about it sort of became a joke.
Every day, I think I got kicked out of that class every day.
Well, that's because you were you. But I think every day, just about every day, I would go in and I would just say, hey, let's take a day off and just go outside.
Oh man, that is making me
play.
feel so good. So
and how many times did we go outside and do that?
Not once.
Never.
And
that's fine because she was the band director and she was there to teach band. So when I watch shows like this, okay, again, fiction, it's Disney,
right.
But I'm like, well, gee, I don't feel like doing history today. Let's do something about my own personal teen angst.
Well,
no.
Yeah, right.
Grab some control.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, I am with you. And I think, really, that's why the show falls apart. There's no center to it. It's a kite, right?
Yes.
We'll go wherever the wind takes us, and then immediately when that starts occurring, I am disengaged. I'm like, it's not grounded in anything. Right?
Correct. And these kids, they just kind of roam free. They're sitting in the subway.
Right. Talking to, quote-unquote, a homeless person.
Talking to total strangers.
Cops. Right?
Everybody's friendly.
There's a stranger danger.
There's no crime involved at all.
Right.
I wouldn't say that I am well experienced in the subways of New York, but I've been in the subways of New York. Because they're in New York, correct?
Oh, yeah. They're in New York.
So I've been in the subways a little bit in New York. They don't look like that.
No, it's the cleanest subway I think I've ever seen, right?
Yes, correct.
No. The whole, again, it just continues to be contrive, and I'm like, I'm sitting through it, and I know that you've sat through other episodes, Mako Mermaids, where you're just like, get me to the end. And this was definitely one of those shows where I'm like, just get me to the end. I'm bored.
Yes.
And I feel horrible about it because I do, because I really wanted this show to really turn me on, and it just didn't.
Well, and I know that some of the listeners might say, hey, guys, come on. This is the Disney Channel. What do you expect? This is not educational television, that sort of thing. But again, we've talked about this a number of times. It's okay for there to be fictional characters, dramatic performances, scenarios that are unrealistic. We expect some of that.
Yes.
But at its core, we still want to say, okay, this isn't supposed to just be total teen indulgence. It's not supposed to say, hey, look, wouldn't it be great if there was a world where there's basically no structure, where school is basically you just sort of hang out and you talk about your problems, and if you feel like leaving class at any point, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
And then if you want to come back later, hey, that's no problem. And your parents and your teacher, they're just always going to be nice. They're going to let you do whatever you want.
Yes. Correct.
The mom, the other small subplot with the mom and Augie.
Right.
Where Augie just comes up and says, hey, Mom, how about some cash?
Right.
And she just hands it over.
Well, there's a, hey, Mom, I want some cash because I know that your special birthday's coming up, and you're right. It's immediate. Oh, here's $10. Go for it.
Here's $10. Go for it.
And I hope and pray that you make the right decision about this, Augie. Because
Right.
the right decision actually is to buy me a gift of chocolate, which is crappy in itself as well, right? There's a number of mistakes occurring, and I can't help forgive it because I know that this show is really driving a lot of people to the Disney Channel to watch it. Because it was based on a show that was actually a fantastic show, and this is just a squander of it. And that's disappointing.
Well, and again, we have to be fair. It is clean. There is sort of the standard teen sass of each other. They sort of rip each other throughout the show. But for the most part, again, it's fairly benign in terms of content, and they do make an attempt. I mean, I appreciated the general message about the importance of integrity over maximizing profit, trying to, do nice things. I mean, they throw out some ideas where you sort of say, oh, that would be cool. At the end, they come up with this nonprofit idea where they're just going to leave umbrellas in the subway for people to use. And people can just pick up an umbrella, and then when they're done, they can leave an umbrella for somebody else. It's a very nice thought. Probably totally unrealistic, but
I can equate it to the little flags that you get in Kirkland, like little crossing flags. And actually, there are malls in our area of Seattle that actually do have an umbrella bin. Yeah. You can grab an umbrella, so it's not totally unheard of. But in a New York subway, yeah. But, well, and then watching the end of the episode with all the people in their umbrellas and how happy they were, like they basically transformed New York into this umbrella, bumper shoot paradise, right? Ugh. Okay.
What else? Anything else?
I want to revisit this show at season 3.
Okay.
I want to see what happens at season 3 because I know that Disney's got a lot riding on this show. I know that there are other shows that lead up to this show that are, I think Dog with a Blog is right before this show because they want to capture an audience for that show, which I'll say is a better show.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that this is a bad show. It's not a bad show. It's just, it's just kind of
You're not. Yeah.
It's not like Uncle Grandpa where I say, "Oh, run away!
Right.
Do not let your kids watch this." If you've got tweens that are watching this show, it's probably fine. There's not a lot of depth, but it's fine.
Yeah,
it's not going to stunt them. And again, we may find that there are other episodes that are a little more redeeming. Maybe the parents play a larger role, have a little bit more oomph to their authority, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, that's all I got.
You can follow us on Twitter. Please tweet the show if you want. Parent Mistakes, or on Facebook, Parenting Mistakes. We got a new logo. It looks awesome. If you want to give us suggestions on what shows we should watch, if you want to give us feedback, positive or negative, we like warm fuzzies, but we're also grown up, so we can take some critique if there's things that you think we should change. So please go on those, and that's about it.
And hey, Todd, congratulations!
What?
Episode 20, man.
Is this 20?
We've done 20 episodes, man.
This is 20 episodes.
Yes, awesome.
So, all right.
I guess we're serious.
Never. Until next time.